Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Heart to Heart with me, Sanna. And with me today, I have the gorgeous, magical fairy whisper, Carol Weakland. Weakland,
Yeah,
right?
that's perfect. Yes, it is.
Yes, from Everything Fairy. Everything Fairy.
Mhm.
Um, Welcome. It's beautiful to connect with you.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here and so excited to share this time with everyone here.
Yes, me too. And like we were talking a little in the before we started, it's really today is a kind of a completion day, and we're just smacked in the middle between the pillars of the solar eclipse and the partial lunar eclipse. So this is a magical moment to really tune into sacred sisters like yourself, like I really
Yes,
feel, and that I felt in the beginning when I first saw you on YouTube in one of your beautiful videos.
thank you.
So I'm just gonna give a little my tuning into you as a
Thank you.
beautiful person. So Carol is a fairy whisperer, a Reiki, rainbow, and Avalon healer. She works with mainly with Morgan and the Fairy Sisters, but there's so much more to that, of course. As well, she's also an actress, a storyteller, author, and much more. And yes,
Thank
it's like an auric thing. Um,
you.
um, Carol's magical essence catched my eye and captured my heart in a deep soul knowing way. That is always the case when I connect with people and that I have on my heart to heart with a connection and mending. So
Yes.
it's those are the magical moments that I want to cherish by meeting people I feel that with. Um, Carol has an amazing story and reminds me very much of my own playful and soft side of myself. I guess it is a sister thing.
Absolutely.
So that is what I wrote about
Thank you.
you, but there's so much more to tell. I also, if you don't mind, you sent me just like a little piece, one of the information that you gave me. So it's part of your own story. So I'm just gonna like reference to what you wrote to me,
Okay.
and this is from you, of course. You will be interested in learning that my connection to fairies began when I was a teenager during a twilight dreaming episode. I was addressed by Morgan, who told me, return to Camelot, return to Avalon. That was my matching order to start writing the Morgan of Avalon series. The story unfolded through dreams, twilight visions, and direct downloads, which taught me Morgan is the fairy queen of Avalon, head of its mystery school, which is run by High Fae, the sisters. They teach people about our inherent oneness with nature, animals, plants, flowers, rocks, the earth, people, the divine, and all. This is where my fairy education began. As I started doing book signings, I met
Yeah.
people who convinced me to start teaching fairy workshops, which blossomed into the upcoming Glastonbury Fairy Retreat educational books and the YouTube channel Carol Weakland Sacred Avalon Fairy Whisperer that people need to go to.
Yes, please.
So this is, I just wanted to like start up with that because I feel that this encompasses so much that I feel I want to dig deep into with you, and what I feel
Sure.
would be kind of like the roots and the template in many ways when it comes to this show, if that happens,
Yes.
because we are both here co-creating this.
I am laughing because Avalon's calling. Can you hear the phone ringing?
Yes.
Oh,
You
we're
need to
going to
take,
ignore
you
that.
need to take it.
And no, we're going to let that kind of pick up. There we go.
All right. So, I'm talking a lot, I know, but I just wanted to also, because I felt like taking 3 oracle cards from the Fairy Forest by Lucy Cavendish. I don't know if you.
I've seen that. Fabulous. Yes.
So I've had it for a while, and because of my own fairy selfness,
Definitely.
because it gives us also like a perspective and the energies of today and also the connection. So
Yeah.
one is bliss, contentment, satisfaction, and security. So there we go.
Nice. Oh, that's beautiful. And how wonderful to share bliss with everyone that's a part of this right now. That's where we need to be. Perfect.
Yes. So that was the first one. And we can speak about them too also. Number
Good.
22, oath, promise, pledge, contract. So.
Mm. And I think, oh, that's gorgeous too. Look at that. Wow. I think that's so much about what we're coming into right now in this time of ascension in July, where we are suddenly, we've been on our path, but now we are truly stepping into those footprints and just blazing the trail. So that's perfect.
I agree. And the last one is number 37, the Maybon, Shining Hope Future.
Oh, wonderful.
I hope that's clear enough.
Yes, I think it is. And I think, before we started, you and I were talking about the Ascension roller coaster that everyone's been riding. And this is what gives you the hope to keep going when you get those down points that happen.
Yes.
And okay, yes, but I know this is clearing time and we're going right back up again. It's very, very short-lived when you're in those down low points. Remember what that card said, that you are there, and it literally is time to shine and revel in that success that's coming from sharing your gifts. So perfect readings. I love it.
Great. So
Yay.
good way to kick off. And so let's just dig in.
Yes.
Would you? I mean, I read what you read to me about how it started, and so I like well, you have a lot different platforms that you work from, but kind of a little short, like, would you like to just the essence of you and how you, because you are connected with a part of yourself, the essence of Morgan, when you were a teenager, and that was a few years back, and so a lot of has happened, and we can see it from the professional side and everything you taught. It goes hand in hand, but I'm sure it has merged you and kind of molded you in so many ways, because you got that connection kind of early in life. Many people don't wake up or get their calling very later in life. So just like a little quick intro about that, if you don't mind, your story and how whatever you want to share with your upbringing and how that kind of like has taken you and the choices that you have made.
Absolutely. So, like you mentioned, that first awakening, and I'm going to call it a first awakening that happened in my teens, was really earth-shattering for me. I had had some psychic experiences, but nothing like the voice that suddenly came from Morgan. And you'll find this even more interesting. I've mentioned to you that I'm also an actress. And what I was doing prior to that Twilight Dreaming episode, I'd been performing on stage the role of Guinevere in the musical Camelot. And I went home tired from that matinee performance, laid down, and then suddenly this voice came over me, and that's where the connection really started. And then it just came through continuously through further Twilight Dreaming episodes, through dreams, visions, and it really was starting the book. But it'll be interesting to note that I didn't start writing the book then, because I was only a teenager.
Yeah.
I needed a lot of life experience. So we're talking almost 20 years before I started to write. So that's why I call it kind of like the dress rehearsal, the first awakening. And then I went through life and experienced so many different things, and eventually was called into healing. And I would say that was like the step 2 of the awakening. And I had a little cat at that point that was all black, beautiful, with bright green eyes. He was a kitten, and he had a declaw job, and unfortunately it infected, and he was not doing well. And I tried all kinds of conventional medicine, and then suddenly I was guided into a holistic shop, and the owner was a Reiki healer, and she said, well, have you tried Reiki on your kitty? I said, no, what's that? And she came over and healed him. And I mentioned he was all black. Where she healed him, his paw, the fur, grew white. So that was an affirmation of the energy right there. And it was the beginning, because then I knew I wanted to actually utilize this and learn it. But it also clicked in my mind, the downloads I've been getting from Morgan since I was a teenager, because she kept showing this character, Morgan of Avalon, which is a real person actually, healing with her hands. And I was like, this is it. This is where I learned that part of the puzzle. Then I can write my book. So that was the very beginning. And it took me to really wonderful places where I would meet people that actually are from Avalon and from the book, and characters that I've interacted with in other lives. And it came quite often through that healing, where I would meet someone and then they would be, well, could you teach me Reiki? And I would teach them Reiki, and then it would be very clear, oh, you've had past lives with this person, and it just kind of would go from there. Even 2 years ago, I literally was being introduced to someone that actually appears in the Morgan of Avalon series. And we developed this incredible relationship for a very short time. And it's just like you said, all these different threads coming together, throughout your life, so that, you can really make that, not only a whole within yourself, but then in how you share and interact and gift to others. So yeah. It's an ongoing process and a very interesting one. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, there's so much coming to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's like, like your first awakening. It was awakening to yourself. Awakening to this exploration of who we truly are, where we came from, and then it just starts opening, and you got you got the information about the past lives, and you started writing later, but it's like the journey started, and then just things happened and opened up. And I'm a cat person myself, so
yes.
even though I when I was a teenager, I actually got allergic to cats, and I'm still cats. But I hope I will self-heal that, because I grow up with cats, and it's
you miss them. I know. Oh yes, you definitely need to be healed of that.
Yeah, but I it's part of it's part of everything. It's part of the storyline, the greater storyline of ourselves.
Right.
Our soul essence and everything. So So thank you for sharing that. And
Absolutely.
so you're a fairy whisperer, and how
Yeah.
would you describe a fairy whisper? What is the whispering from the fairies? That was kind of like what came, and then um, there was something else. Yes, the twilight. When you say you,
Twilight dreaming.
yeah, the twilight moment that you connect.
Yeah.
Like, is that the dusk, or is it the? I mean, what is that to you?
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I usually describe what that is, and it wasn't, connecting that I needed to do that. I
No,
don't
no,
know
no,
why.
no. Okay.
But twilight dreaming to me is a state halfway between waking and dreaming,
Mm,
where you're so just one, floating on that divine current, and
yeah.
all kinds of information that you would never experience, in a normal waking state comes to you effortlessly. Now, I can say that for back then when I was a teenager, but everyone right now, because we're in ascension, is so much more open that
Yes.
you could have a twilight dreaming episode literally just when you're in a calm state, somewhere. But it is really just you halfway between this world and the spirit realm and connecting to guides, your higher self, the divine. For
Yeah.
me,
I
fairies,
felt
yeah,
like I felt like it was the veil, the lucid
yes,
dream.
it is.
Yes.
That's it, absolutely.
Mm.
Now, your other question was about fairy whispering. And that's really interesting. It's something that I started coining about, I would say, about a year and a half ago.
Hmm.
I had gone through, just being someone that spoke about fairies and, gave these classes and had her books and all of that, but it didn't really have a title. And then I trained with Doreen Virtue right before she stopped teaching about fairies. So I became one of her students, a fairyologist, and I gained more information through her. And then I also studied with several other people at the same time. So, all of this information was coming in. And for me, fairy whispering is using all of your senses to connect with the nature spirits. So it can be, what we consider to be fairies, which are elementals, spirit beings that are of earth, air, water, fire. Or it could be you connecting with a tree, the tree spirit, a flower spirit,
Hmm.
something, an animal spirit. They were saying, don't leave out the animals. Of course not. We love them so much. Oh, my word. But it is using all of your senses, not just sight. They're wanting me to stop and say, in case people are saying, I never see fairies. Why is that? Fairies are energy beings. They don't have a physical form unless they want to take one. Now they're shapeshifters, so they can take physical form, but
Yes.
until they decide to show themselves, they don't.
Hmm.
And they want me to say that when they present, they will present as you are imagining them. So if you're imagining Tinkerbell, it's going to be that kind of form.
Hmm.
If you're imagining something scary, because you have a background saying fairies are scary, it'll look scary. So you have to be open. I have leprechauns coming through right now.
Yeah.
They're saying, do not judge us from all the movies that are out there. We are very jovial. We work with the minerals of the earth, the gold, and please do not see us as scary because we are jovial. We
Yes.
are beings of light. I'm sorry, I went way off on a tangent there, but
No, 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 not at all.
all right, so back to fairy whispering. So it's taking every sense that you have, even they're saying with taste, as you're tasting